Good morning. The following message is Mr. Prompt. My name is Steve, and I'm with the Franklin County Legal Dispatch and Verification Department. And the nature of my call this morning is that it looks like we had some legal documentation dispatched out for you a little earlier to an address over at the Village of Bexley. And the officer that was dispatched out with the documentation is reported back as a failed attempt for service. Apparently, there was no one home at the unit when they arrived to deliver the documentation. And the nature of the call is the secondary or default location that we have to dispatch the officer out to get your documentation is coming up as a commercial address, and traditionally that indicates it's an individual's place of employment or their business, and we're not interested in creating an awkward situation for anyone at their job. If it can be avoided, but we are under strict instruction to get the officer dispatched back out and get your documentation today, no matter what the location is. So if you have any questions as to what the documentation may pertain to, or want it rerouted to a better location, or perhaps rescheduled for a better time for delivery, or perhaps want to provide authorization for someone else to sign for the documents if you're not going to be available at the commercial address to accept them when they arrive, any input whatsoever as far as shaping how this event unfolds, go ahead and contact the administrator behind the filing. The phone number there is 888-585-6497, and the tracking number on the documentation is 67609, and they can answer any questions as to what the documentation may pertain to, but more importantly on our end here, any rerouting of the documents or scheduling for a better time or authorizations for someone else to accept on your behalf if you're not going to be available. Any input like that would be forwarded over to us here in dispatch before the officer's dispatched back out. We're going to go ahead and put a temporary hold on this till about 11:30, and we'll go ahead and keep our eyes open for any updates or changes and any input directed from your end. Thank you very much, and do be advised this call is being recorded for verification purposes. And again, that's a message for William Frederick Prop. Thank you.
Legal work systems that negate circumstances for need to losses. Maybe national American get that narrowing if we have not updated as the national state later for the first year because one that either at the level level my year must look no later while one I have said 6 or 5 of each have said very solid forward the girl people laugh look me all my leaving no kind of the thing hearing that that's the small myself in the shit there all now after I go from those extras because the thing you are you in the earth and I am wrong that we need your family shit because the process is shocking or snake and I and Lord this initiated because of our money house they the best no this idiots rather than off you often now he really sitting these guys now small nothing that was the one ish the rough serve I was still with me I read the wall but that's supposed to serve down some guys that all my leaves kind of some kind of me I was one of myself in the sheets to find out if I was now smatter roll near village roll now I read up my arrow flows next to smatter when the sheet will let up look in our year and I'll always need your damn sheet and kind of those says and they show you know I hate feels so the sheet will know what I'm on the other sheet and the guys are sheet on they know I have steps if there's 5 they're going to start and if there's sooner I will they'll leave because it there's not only our for sales just their money there from this and I don't make sense of it where their name else like the upload living in this and that I the old sugar nice serve that was sharp guys among the initiated because there's niggas we are 5 checks to do straight you when the shit will off he's career in the so all those nej, nämlich gar nicht, dass vielleicht Airways, and the later, the more knowledge or the alert, the servers, or the Wi-Fi is a kind of your pronunciation, the guys of the Wi-Fi access to it. There's not like you'll scratch the show if there was so night of night, or you're all the way your flash shafts and you see them guys looking long with that, you just realize it. Some all come nursing and the rocking shit for the snaps that looking me like no hair for the money and you know, after some pop or their little worse, they just off
Good morning. The following message is for us. My name is Steve as well, and I'm with the Franklin County Legal Dispatch and Verification Department. You're listed here as a contact roommate, basically associate, someone that can get a quick message out to a William Frederick Prop. Need to get a message out to him. We have a number for him, but there is no identification on the voicemail, so we're contacting you and do get a message to him as part of our due diligence and notification requirements. Now, it looks like Mr. Prop has some legal documentation dispatched out this morning to it looks like a condominium over in Columbus Village at Bexley. And the officer that was dispatched out with the documentation is reported back as a failed attempt for service. Apparently there was no one home or no one answered the door when they arrived with Williams' documentation. And before we dispatch the officer out to the secondary location, the default location we have to dispatch to is coming up as a commercial address. And traditionally that indicates it's an individual's place of employment or their business. And we're not interested in creating an awkward situation for anyone at a job site if it can be avoided. But we are under strict instruction to get the officer dispatched back out and get Mr. Prop's documentation today, no matter what the location is. So if he has any questions as to what the documentation may pertain to, or more importantly, reroute to another location, authorize someone else to sign for them if he's not going to be available when they arrive, reroute to another location, reschedule for a better time, any input as far as shaping how this event unfolds today, have him contact the administrator behind the filing before 11:30 a.m. Now, the phone number over there is 888-585-6497, and the tracking number on the documentation is 67609. And again, they can answer any questions as to what the documentation pertains to, but more importantly, any input as far as like rescheduling, rerouting, authorizations for someone else to sign, anything like that would be forwarded on to us here in dispatch before the officer is dispatched back out. Thank you very much, and do be advised this call is being recorded for verification purposes. And again, that's a message for William Frederick Prop. Thank you.
Alright, snaps that there was five no snaps that there's so nine that are off you don't like you know you see that it's just one of the stuff that she is there's not a near line that you got the route set up with me name of home out with me script she is never behind the lowest says this self here saying it gets negative and more reason just the best this she is never behind the money and the best just idiots and the rest of them off you blind. You're in the low few. All of a sudden, you're there sending beef dancing off the thing. This small, nothing that that's the blocking of your shots and they're off sit off and eat it. Now, spread up her false like you run and shit. Go live on your squad, we were, in the wall, baby, kind of see the matter, it's just one of us there, I was hot on this shit, well, if I know squad, we we sneezed, she's nipping out the those says that shelf in the haze, it was, shit, well, look over them when you had it, this shit, the guys in the mouth for some, sticking like 5 steps, and there's 5, 50 scarves, there's right, what about, the old way makes it smash now, and I don't mean for sure this new line here. And I don't know what makes sense that for the open and the old the self-most of the this the into that the old shitter snake. $5 from because of my muscles chance to do things shit with Waffy did not initiate what we were in the customer smart side chance to go for night. Initiate and not smell notes around the world if there's no one or more no it's in the American surf my Wi-Fi is the guy cleared off your some shit and the guy didn't watch that so when there's fault is the night. Jag skrattar still lite smått när hon är med nästa skola när hon så much steps in she and it's not living the same office and just like it's never help you shit but that's the story you never have to manage to somebody good doing it's not grow a song skills and then shit and that y'all and there's the more from when the man you most watch to somebody good Mom, you're enough for me almost watch to something in the message was saying shit and we're guys not guys are either never up in shit first and snaps is looking me like no care for the night walls feet swimming on the beach house the beach surfs there's a sun off my you know